Welcome everybody to the Quarter Century Soldier. We're talking about 2014 today. 2014, 14 years in. So at this point, I'm a veteran, right, of active duty. I've been doing this for a while. So 2014, I'm still in Bethesda. I've been here since 2011. Like I said, every 2 to 3 years, I get antsy and I want to leave, right? So y'all know, if you haven't seen 2013, check out 2013. I'm in my mode, right? My boss, he's legit. He's letting me work. He's not bothering me. He's empowering me. I will say that. He's empowering me to do what I need to do to make the department great. And I appreciate that, right? So when I have a leader like that, I support him in what he wants to do. He has a vision. I'm honest with him or her, and I let them know, sir, ma'am, that may be a bit of a reach because of XYZ. Now, they have the right, and they will, I don't want to say usurp, but they will call it anyway and say, this is what I want. Find a way to make it happen. Roger that. And that's what we'll do. Good copy. Make it happen. But for the most part, he's really sensible, right? He has some things because everybody wants to come in and make a huge difference. They want to make changes. They want to leave things better than the way that they found it. And I applaud that, right? You should do that. You have the ability to do that. But sometimes the reason why things have not changed and they've stayed the same is because they kind of can't change for whatever reason. It may make too much money. It may take too much money, may take too much time. You're not always privy to the reason why, even if you're in a leadership position. Just know that even if you're a worker bee, right? And you're not in leadership. Sometimes things don't change because they can't change. And it's not because a person doesn't want them to change. The juice may not be worth the squeeze, or they might have tried it before and they were met with so much opposition that it's not worth me risking my job for. I'll be honest with you. Some things you go to bat for, obviously you will do that, but some things you're not about to lose your job over, because at the end of the day, they could say, you're fired, get the fuck out of here, and then replace you tomorrow. So you have to be weary, even if you're a leader, of where you fight your battles, where you choose to die on the sword. You have to remember that. It's easy when you're a worker bee to be like, oh, they don't care because XYZ, they can't see this, they can't see that. We see it, we see that, but those are conversations that happen behind closed doors. And if my boss, if a worker tells me, hey, we need to change X to Z, and it makes sense to me, all right, cool, I agree with you. We need to change X to Z. Let me take that up. He or she may say, no, we're not doing that because I don't want to do that. They have the right to say yes or no, right? They can say, I don't want to. They can say, that's a good idea, let's try it. They could say, someone else brought that idea, we tried it, it didn't work. It could happen for a number of reasons. And no one is willing to die on the sword for that change. You know what I'm saying? So people have to remember that too. But at the end of the day, we have a really good relationship. And I think he was getting ready to leave pretty soon. I know for me, 2014, I was looking to get promoted. I had got promoted to in 2007. So now I'm 7 years at the same rank. And I'm just like, I'm itching because I'm like, ugh, I need to get promoted. What the fuck is going on? As a lab tech, most of our promotions come from the schoolhouse. When I say schoolhouse, that means when we're instructors of AIT. We only get like 2 spots for drill sergeants. And recruiter, for us, that really isn't beneficial for certain jobs. Certain jobs have certain schools that you need to go to in order to separate yourself from your peers, or to kind of move up that leadership ladder, if you will. The good thing about that is the Army tells you. Now, they're a little vague with it. They say, from E6 to E7, you should get your degree. You should go to a school of some sort, whether it be recruiting, whether it be drill sergeant school, whether it become an instructor. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. So they do give you a blueprint. They just don't say, if you do this, this, and this, you will get promoted. They will say it will increase your chances of getting promoted. So at this point, I got the identifier to become a research scientist. That doesn't get you promoted because the Army doesn't view that as giving back to the Army. And I say that because if you go to schools like airborne school, jumping out of planes, air assault school, jumping out of helicopters, if you go to like Ranger schools, special forces and stuff like that, they look at that as contributing directly to the Army. Again, because what are we doing? We're training for wartime. So me doing research on radiation, they don't see that as contributing to the military. Now I'm contributing to humanity in total, but the Army at the end of the day is a business. What are you doing to make us money? We're paying you every month, so what are you giving us back, right? And in research, we don't always give results that, okay, we are giving you this drug today, this drug tomorrow, this drug. Sometimes, like I said, people work on research projects for 30 years and they may take a baby step forward, right? That's my ideology, because the friends that I have that went to the specific schools, right? They were a little bit more dedicated than me. I can say that. But, it looks better on paper. You went to this school, this school, this school. You check this block, this block. I was doing things for myself. I'm enlisted. So getting a degree, getting a master's degree is awesome. But it's unnecessary for promotion. We had E9s. The E9 who worked in the medical, he was over all medical for the Army, right? He was E9, been in over 25 years, 30 years. He's working with the general, who the general is a doctor, right? Went to med school, practiced medicine. He did all of that. He's over all medical for the Army. The E9 was working on his associates, working on it. He didn't even fully have it. But you know what he went to? He went to a bunch of different schools, military schools. So he had all these badges that showed that he went to all these schools. And so I'm in 2014, I'm doing what I like to do. I'm, close to civilian world because we have our own set schedule. It's really relaxed. We don't do a lot of the things that normal military units do. So I'm cool with it, but I also want to get promoted, and I also want to leave soon because I don't like DC. I'm ready to go somewhere new. So I'm calling and I'm trying to get to San Antonio because this is where we do our AIT. This is where I came for AIT in 2004. So I want to become an instructor. However, I cannot be an instructor because I have the identifier. And they told me this straight up and down. Like, hey, send us all your documents and stuff like that. Let us vet you. Let us screen you to see if you have what it takes, if you would be a good instructor, right? Did all of that. Yeah, you do. You can be an instructor. You'd be a valuable asset to us. However, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. However, you have an identifier and you cannot become an instructor because that identifier keeps you in place, which, that's true. The reason why I got the identifier is because now I'm going to be in research units. I'm going to be, I'm not going to be deploying or anything like that. So it's going to keep me in place. Sometimes our gift is our curse. And this is a curse of this gift because I can't even become an instructor. I can't become a recruiter. I can't become a drill sergeant because I have this identifier. They don't want a lot of turnover in research because these research studies need continuity. They need you to maintain being on that team for a little while. So this is throwing a wrench into my plans, right? So now I have to fight to get the identifier dropped. And I'm not supposed to get the identifier dropped until I get promoted to E7. However, I can't because I can't differentiate myself in order to get promoted. So it's a fucking catch-22 at this point. It's a double-edged sword. So I have to fight. And again, luckily my boss is he's supportive, but it's nothing he can do. He can vouch for me because, you know, we have letters of recommendation and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, this is an Army policy. I was under the impression I could still do that. I could still go and I could still do these special schools because they're special schools. Was I going to go to a regular unit in Florida? No, I didn't. You know, I didn't want to do that. But I thought I would still be able to apply for special duty. Drill sergeant, instructor, and recruiters are special duties. We get special identifiers for it. We go through special training for it. And we attend school to go and to be one of those things. Not so much the instructor portion, but we go through our own process of clearing you to become an instructor. So 2014, that is what 2014 ended up being for me, was me fighting to drop the identifier because I can't say it had served its purpose, but it had given me what I wanted, stability. And now it was too much. It was too much. Yeah. Yes, it's my fault. It was too much. That's all I can say to that, is that I'm not even gonna say I didn't mess up. It wasn't a bad choice. It was what I wanted to do. And so I got done what I wanted to do. And I was ready to do something different, but now I can't do something different because of the identifier. So 2014 was me, talking to Big Army, calling up like Fort Knox, calling my branch to say, what do I have to do in order to drop it? Right? Whatever I need to do, because you have a soldier, me, who wants to advance. This is self-serving. So it is to benefit me. Yes. But it's also to benefit the Army too. So you're telling someone who wants to become an instructor that they can't. You have to make that make sense, because you're now telling me that I can't do something that benefits the Army. And we will see later that it actually does, right? So it was a fight. Right? I had to I had to submit paperwork, basically renouncing my throne. You know what I'm saying? They acted like I had to renounce my, I don't know what you want to call it. It was like an act of Congress to get that identifier dropped. And I'm just like, why? Why is it so hard to get the identifier dropped? I don't need it anymore. The same way I got it added, and it got added like instantly. As soon as I got my degree, I was like, hey, I want to be a Papa 9. I want to get the identifier, because now it's an identifier. Before it used to be its entire job, but they couldn't keep anybody in retention because, 01 Hotel, that was the job before, biological research assistant. They came in with degrees. And so when they were in these environments, they were going, to get their masters, to get their doctorates and getting the fuck out of there. Because if you get signed on to like a contractor, you could run your own team, and they were giving you money for funding, giving you money just for being, a person with a doctorate. So a doctor, to be able to run these studies. And this was government. They have so much private research that it's insane. And they give money for it, for people who are qualified and want to do it. It's an actual job, just like Planet of the Apes, right? That was a research facility. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. It's not kind of, that is what I'm talking about here. So just those things exist and they're real, and people are making a lot of money off of that type of stuff. So it's really hard to keep them. And then there wasn't a lot of people qualified. So what they did was they gave it to the laboratory, medical laboratory specialist job as an identifier. So you could specialize. So now, instead of me working in the hospital and running people's blood and urine, I could go to a research facility, because they knew a lot of us had education, because you had to have a certain, you had to have attended college, because you needed to have certain courses in order to get the associates. So when we graduate AIT as medical laboratory specialists, we get an associate's degree from George Washington, because we've already met the requirements to join the job, right? You have to have taken so many credits of biology, English, just general stuff, general first year stuff, and then mix what you've taken already coming into the job with what we give you once you graduate AIT, the 6 and 6, the 6 months classroom, the 6 months clinicals. All you have to do is apply for your associates at George Washington, and you get it instantly. And I forgot what it's in. It's like health technology or something like that. So you get an associate straight out the gate. So that appeals to a lot of people. So yeah, now I'm ready to drop the identifier. And I think what happens is, I'm a person that usually my timing is off. Like, I have really bad timing. Just like me doing podcasts 6 years ago, but now they seem to be all the rage, but I digress. So timing just happens that the policy came down. I think I had so many people on my side, which, starting with my boss and starting with like his boss, just like, hey, this guy wants to go be an instructor and he can't because he has this identifier. Can we start writing people to let someone know that, hey, it's unnecessary that he has it. He doesn't need it past E5. E6 is when you start branching off the kind of, this is what you're going to do. This is the path I want to take in order to get promoted. So can we get him dropped? Can we get that dropped from his, from his MOS? And I think we got so much support behind it. So many people that was rocking with it. Because again, I was doing my thing here. One of the best jobs I had, just from a staff point of view. And they ended up, making a policy to where you could drop the Papa 9 identifier. Thank you. To where you could drop the Papa 9 identifier if you were a staff sergeant. That way it allows you to go and, become an instructor, become a drill sergeant, become a recruiter. So it worked out. It worked out. 2014, got it dropped. And now I'm eligible to become one of those. I had already, talked to the schoolhouse in San Antonio that I want to come be an instructor. 14 years in, and let's fucking go. Let's do that. So I got the assignment in 2014, the end of 2014, to become an instructor at the schoolhouse for medical laboratory specialists in San Antonio. And that was probably one of the best decisions I made. We'll get into it in the next one about 2015, because that's when I made the move to become an instructor down in San Antonio, the home of the medical corps. All medical training for the military goes through San Antonio, and that's for all branches. So it's huge down there. And becoming an instructor was huge to a few things. Huge to my career, huge to me personally, professionally, obviously, and huge to the on-site list, because that's where the first, members join the on-site list. So we'll talk about what the on-site list is, in the next video tomorrow. We'll talk about what constitutes the on-site list and how someone joins it and what it means to be a part of it. They don't really join it until 2016. So, but that's all of a lead in. But that's 2014. 2014 was the fight to leave the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. This is 2014. I had been there since 2017. Technically, I had been there since 2017. I had been there since 2007. Technically been there since 2005, because that's when I got there, even though I did take a year break, if you want to say that. And then I went back, and I was just tired of being in the area. I did buy my first home up there. So I bought the home in 2009. That was my first time being a homeowner, all solo dolo. Again, like, we have to remember that. I'm just making decisions, bro. So when people talk, leadership, you talk in my language, because I've been the leader in my own story. Not everybody can say that, right? So yeah, I've been in the area since 2005. I'm literally tired of it, and I joined the military for travel, to see the world, and I ended up seeing DC for almost 10 years, or for 10 years. Like, yo, what the WTF? But we'll get to that later on too. But yeah, that's 2014. So yes, I ended up getting it dropped. Immediately was linked in to become an instructor. And so I'll be reporting to San Antonio, Texas in May of 2015. So 2015 was another big year. So that'll be a good episode tomorrow. But yeah, 2014 was a very good year, man. The job is going well, except for this little setback with me wanting to leave. But that was just something I didn't know would happen. But you live and you learn, and it all ended up working out for the best for me. So I appreciate that, and I'm happy that it did. But thank y'all for watching this episode 16, 2014, in the Quarter Century Soldier. And next year we'll be headed to San Antonio, Texas, to become an instructor. So I'll see y'all in the next one. '15 was really a turning point. So I really started to. I'm enjoying the Army as it is now, but I'm kind of removed from it because I am research, and so we don't have like PT formations, PT on your own, and we're just not adhering to a military schedule. And so I'm getting the perks of the military, but I'm not adhering to the military schedule. So I'm kind of getting the best of both worlds, which is absolute-ish compared to what happens when I go to Honduras. But we'll get to that.